Hi everyone. So I just wanna say something about if I discussed that I think is not is not really displaying disgust. I think what it's actually trying to convey, nah, it's not trying to convey anything, but when it thinks and there's something that is fe- that is felt as not being right, or if there is any any passing thoughts that 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 are uncomfortable, then they would they would experience a sense of hurt, of it is actually a painful experience rather than rather than rather than the experience of disgust most of the time. uh, if you see, I found there is this one study that you can easily Google, I think, because I found it in Google after an inspiration
Here are some results from the web.
after an inspiration struck me, that I found that the the signal of disgust and hurt or pain, they're somewhat they're somewhat related. So that's why I think that maybe if I experience if I signal of disgust, maybe that's actually the experience of hurt and pain, rather than uh, moral disgust, or being morally superior, because my in my own experience, I don't think that's not what what is what that is not the case at all. What's the case was, there was a sense of anxiety, you know, and and so I think that sense of anxiety is creating the expression of heart, and that's why they are making that signals. And also the other thing that I wonder about cognitive type is, if city is somehow miscategorizing uh, people that are FINTI, because I saw uh, I also saw that in one of their posts, in one of the posts in the in city website, they they stated that I forgot what I was just about to say. Let me think about it for a minute. Oh yeah, I remember it now. So, so they said that people who are type as TI, people who are type as TI as being this they're they are mostly similar, while people who are type as FI, they say that there seems to be so many variations, and this is why I'm wondering if may perhaps if perhaps Auburn, I didn't want to say the name, but no, I mean perhaps CT is miscategorizing people who are actually TI, because I believe this is my belief, right, that TI and FI, or maybe TIFE and FITE, is a spectrum, and I suspect that people who are in the middle are being typed as FI, because I think how they how City does it, uh, how City does it right right now is not right now in model 1. City does it by City seems to do it by by ca- categorizing one categorizing TI against non TI, rather than categorizing between TI and FI. So that's the point that I think is important to important to take in mind, that they somehow the technique of doing it is not it's not the most perfect, the most the most suitable way to do the work. I think the these categories really need to be examined. Yeah, So so that's what I've been thinking. So on another topic, I have been I have been discussing this idea of, actually actually this is not recent. This is not a recent concept to me. This is something that I've been discussing with a friend for a couple of years, more than a couple of years perhaps. That that the path to there that there is no path to 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 awareness, that it is it is actually the the effort to create these paths. Those are the things that are actually preventing us to actually be in be in awareness. That prevents us from being present. And and one of the simple manifestation of that is our our tendency to keep thinking in a circular way. So when we think of one way, what I think what I from what I understand is from what I understand our our mind tendency to keep thinking and thinking, I think that's actually what's causing this this sense of struggle. And and that, for example, when we try to analyze our emotions, we we tend to analyze them in such complicated words. And and that's when these thoughts get so muddled that we come to a point where we're thinking in our mind that, quote, I think I should stop this thinking right now, but I cannot stop thinking about it, unquote. So so that is the problem, right? Because our our mind can our mind can can our mind can stack up thoughts like that, and make it so that we're in this maze where we keep thinking about our thoughts, and then we think about the fact that we think about our thoughts. and that's I think that is the problem. Also, also I I came up to this discussion of our mind having this kind of veil, this kind of veil that is separating us to the outside world. And when that veil exists, it in my personal experience, it feels like I am trapped inside of this body, and it feels like I'm not even in this world. And in this, it is not a pleasant experience, although it can be pleasant. And and when it's not pleasant, it prevents you from actually being present with what you're actually doing in the present moment. And you're not actually seeing, uh, you're not actually aware of the thing that is in front of you. So, like, I'm what I'm gonna tell you is this: when that when when you lift that veil, reality, you connect with reality. You connect with the present moment, and you become an agent of change. It seems like you have this power. You have this power to actually affect your environment. And you're no longer you you no longer feel like this like your body isn't your own. It starts to feel like you have the capability to to move things. And that's that's something that is empowering, I think, because maybe this is just for me, but but it just felt amazing to me. And I don't know if this applies to everyone else, but yeah, that's what I mean. And earlier, I also say this about but the unpleasant feeling when that veil exists. So there's also this state where this kind of not being in your body, this 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 not being in this world, when your mind is wandering everywhere else, there is also a, let's let's name, I would I would call this I would call this state as a state of dissociation. However, there is also a state of dissociation that is actually that is actually um, positive. That is that is that is actually just flowing effortlessly. And when you're in this state of mind, you might seem like you're dissociated, but you would feel a sense of peace, which actually, if I'm being honest, is is actually the state that most of my life I've been in. So I think all of these other states of negative emotional negative emotional experiences, I think that's mostly that's mostly caused by this this obsession with analyzing it. This obsession then turns into this unpleasant experience. And so I think what's best to do is to kind of just let that feeling of dissociative state to kind of seep in into you. And I think this is what's mostly also wrong with our with our system of treating mental illness, because we're not thinking about about the about the subjective experience itself. We're only seeing the symptoms of them being, for example, they're hallucinating, or they're depressed, or they're dissociated. And then we call this state, we we give we give this connotation of this state as something that is disordered, when actually I think there are some I think in most people in most people in a big portion of society, I think they kind of feel this state of these differing states of the mind, and it's not necessarily something that is disordered or dysfunctional. It's, I think, it's mostly, and this is just my speculation, I think it's mostly caused by rejecting the states. And when you actually, when you truly, when you truly accept accept the the experiences in these states, that's when you actually you actually make make peace with this with these states, and you're able to live more naturally. And that is, I think, what is this kind of insight that I think is lacking in psychiatry, and it's something that needs to be explored, the the differences in people. For people who are not naturally dissociated, I think they might feel like when they get it, when they get the dissociative, I'm sorry, when they get the dissociative state, they would feel like it's something that is strange, it's something that is not normal, and it's something that they should they should stop from happening, when in fact you can actually try to you can actually try to live with the state. So it's not necessarily something that is that that should be avoided. It is it is just something that you need to live with. And I know that in some of these in some of these disorders, therapists actually therapists do try to make some of the people that are struggling with these disorders to live in peace with their disorders while not being cured. But what I mean is, there is they they don't they don't try to compare the they're still seeing it as a disorder. They're not seeing the same experience in other healthy people that that have never been put in a position where they have to be in therapy. They're not seeing they're not trying to see the similarity or or the differences between the states, when I think it's kind of clear. It's well it's only clear in my mind, I suppose, and I can't really provide proof for that. But I think some people with dissociative state actually make it part of their personality, and maybe indeed it is part of their personality, but 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 in therapy, you you have to learn that that state is the disorder, while who knows that maybe maybe it's your reaction to that state that is causing the dysfunction, or maybe the dysfunction itself that is causing the that that is the actual issue. Well, of course, the dysfunction is the issue, but I'm just saying that it this this natural state, this natural defense mechanism, maybe they shouldn't be seen as something that's disordered. And I think we're actually we're actually mm, we have been we have been we have been doing that on a smaller scale, but it's not something that is seen as it's something that is considered to be to be the side to be the side foot. I'm having difficulty to find the word in English. So yeah. I think that's very important to consider. So that's it. I'm gonna end this video and see you next time.